Can't forget the day we met, your eyes so blue.
Alright, we are up and headed down to get coffee. I did sleep well considering everything that's been going on. I was probably just exhausted. She's intubated, sedated, and her temperature is a little bit low. So, but she's stable. And they've got her on an EEG just for extra monitoring. So we'll see where the day takes us. Alright, so after giving her time throughout the night to rest, we did a repeat chest x-ray, and her x-ray still looks really, really, really cloudy. They did one yesterday when she first got up to the ICU, and we weren't sure if the cloudiness and the patchiness that we were seeing on the x-ray was because it was inflamed from her lungs just working so hard to breathe. But they are thinking now, like, no, this is definitely sick, like something's going on. Have concluded that it's likely that she has aspiration pneumonia, which is, something that I've always been afraid of, but it happens. It's kind of a miracle that we've made it this long, honestly, with as frequently as she vomits. The fear was that because she is sick now, that she would have to stop keto. But I really did not want to do that because I just didn't think that would benefit her. She is starting to get into ketosis now. She's just starting to get there, and she's not vomited the entire time she's been here in the ICU, knock on wood. We are doing continuous feeds rather than bolus feeds, and she's tolerating it well. So the reason they typically don't do keto when kids are sick is because if they were to vomit, they wouldn't be sure whether it was the formula that was making them sick or if it was, just other factors. But even when she vomited before we came up to the ICU, we knew that it wasn't related to the formula. It was related to her just being a little bit junky, having some, stuff that she was already trying to cough up. And we think that whenever she did vomit, because she was already on the keto formula, it's high in fat content, and there is more of a risk that whatever they aspirate will turn into pneumonia. We're going to continue. We don't think that she would vomit because of the formula, so we think that it's a good idea to continue. One thing that I think I am going to talk to them about is I feel like she should have been in the PICU all along. I really do. And I know that seems crazy, but she is at such high risk for vomiting and for aspiration. Then it seems to me like kids like Marcelly, it would be best for them to already be in the PICU whenever they are trying this, as a precaution, right? Just a thought. So now we wait. She's probably going to be on the ventilator for at least a few days while her lungs recover. So we're just hoping that she fights it.
Probably like an hour at minimum. They're probably have to watch
Alright, it's been a long day, but a good day overall. She's only had one observable seizure, which is really good. And she's been awake, actually. She's been opening her eyes and seems pretty content and comfortable. It's super different being in the ICU because, you have so much more attention on her. I mean, her nurse's only patient. So I feel like I have more capacity to do stuff, to rest. But then I get restless. I've been doing a lot of writing today. But we're gonna go eat now, and then just gonna take it one moment at a time. They have chicken Alfredo. She is awake. She's a little bit feisty, so she seems more like her usual self. I haven't recorded much today, mainly because I've just been trying to be. It gets kind of overwhelming going through the same information over and over and over and over again. So I've just been taking a break. She had a good day overall, but we had some vomiting episodes earlier. This morning, the doc that was here said that her lungs looked really, really good and that we might be able to take the tube out. It's called extubation. We might be able to take the tube out tomorrow, which was way sooner than I was anticipating. But she did have some vomiting episodes today, so I don't know if they're gonna maybe try to push that to Monday just to be safe, because she's not vomiting up her feet, she's vomiting up mucus. And she's just getting gagged, so it's like, is she gagging because she senses the placement of the tube? Is she coughing and then getting gagged on mucus, or whatever it is? But she was coughing a lot this afternoon, and then she would throw up, and then she'd have a seizure, and she ended up having to get a rescue med today. I don't know, like, they don't want to take the tube. So the tube right now has like a little, I forget what they call it, but it's almost like it's this little thing that blocks her from aspirating, which is what put her here in the first place. So the last thing we want is for her to get the tube out, throw up, aspirate, and then be right back on a tube. Like, we don't want that. We want to make sure that if we take her tube out, that she is ready to have it taken out. She's closer to baseline for her seizures, which is good. I don't think they're doing her blood work for keto until Monday or Tuesday. So I'm assuming she's in full ketosis at this point, because her blood work looked much better yesterday as far as that was concerned. She is closer to her baseline for her seizures in the sense that she's sick, she doesn't feel good, so the seizures that she's having don't surprise me. They don't concern me the way that they did when we got sent up here. But obviously we want her more stable once we finally go home. It's just hard. Like, the more people I talk to about keto, the more they say, hey, this was a really rough transition. Like, I've had so many people tell me that they had a rough transition. Like, I've had more people say this was rough than I've had people say this was a breeze. And I was talking to one of the doctors about this. I was like, I understand that there's a line that you have to toe between how much information do I provide so that the patient feels informed and feels like they can give informed consent, versus where's that line of providing so much information that the parent then becomes overwhelmed or they panic or whatever. I mean, I get that. Like, I get that there's a fine line, but I feel like parents should know what they're getting into with this. Like, we just had I knew that it could be a rough, like, I knew that it wasn't necessarily all sunshine and roses, but based on what they were telling me, I just assumed that the people that I had talked to, which was only one or two people at that time, that maybe that was the exception. That maybe if Marcely experienced that level of struggle, which obviously she is, that maybe that was just because, we were the exception too. I don't know. And then to hear more and more people say, no, this was rough for not just days, weeks, months even. Oh, we had to give it a good 5 months before we saw improvement, but it's been phenomenal. You've got to set the expectations. Like, you've got to be realistic with parents about what the expectations are, that, like, if this is a long road, just tell me. Like, don't tell me, hey, it'll be like a 3-day stay. But we should see drastic improvement within the first few days. Like that, it's, to me, it's sounding like that is the exception and not the other way around. But I could be wrong. Regardless, I'm thankful for the progress that she is making. I was very happy. My mother-in-law came to visit me yesterday. She brought me food, and a good friend of mine sent me DoorDash last night, so it was like so helpful, so great. And my mother-in-law stayed a really long time last night just to keep me company. And then same thing, my father-in-law this morning, he came and visited this morning and this afternoon just to have, you know, somebody who's not a doctor to talk to, which is really nice. We're hanging in there. Hanging in there. So the big discussion today has been intubating her, extubating her. I've had mixed feelings about it, but just because I wasn't anticipating her getting extubated till like Tuesday, because we just didn't know how her lungs were gonna do, but they look really, really good. So the doctor wants to go ahead and try to extubate her today. There's just so much anxiety around that, right? Like, because I don't want her to aspirate again and then we're right back to square one. But I mean, we're not gonna know unless we try, so hopefully within the next hour she'll have the tube out of her throat. It does not mean that we would stay in the PICU obviously for at least another day or so for her safety, because she's totally not ready to go to the floor yet. Hopefully we will get a tube out of our throat today. Alright, we are about to pull the tube out, and I was going to try to stay in the room, but she was getting super mad, and there were like so many people in there. It was just making me so much more anxious to sit there and watch, so I just needed to calm down. I always feel bad about that though, like I feel like I'm leaving her. I know that's not what it is, it's just hard. Josh is thankfully coming up to switch with me tonight so that I can go home and sleep at home. So it makes me a little bit nervous going home the first day that she's extubated, but I'll at least have a few hours before he gets here to observe her and process. We just took all of my stuff out to my car, and Joshua is staying here tonight so I can have a break. I like dates with you.
They are eventful.
We've got a little fish pond right here. All the little fishies. Oh, the pretty fishies. Okay, so I am switching off with Josh. Oh, I hated leaving her. She's really uncomfortable. Her heart rate's like 180. She is super agitated, and I think that she might be going through withdrawal. When kids get intubated, they have to be sedated, right? So they have to be on a certain amount of sedation to keep them comfortable and keep them from dislodging the tube and stuff. So even though she wasn't on it that long, where a typical kid probably wouldn't have issues with being off of it, you know, Marcelly's not a typical kid, so we don't know how she processes those medications in comparison to another child. And I was looking at her heart rate, you know, her heart rate's super fast, her breathing is super fast, her hands are cold and clammy, and I was like, she's withdrawing. And the doctor had said the same thing. He was like, could she be in withdrawal? And I said, yeah, I think that's what it is. So Josh is there. He's gonna keep an eye on her. But I've got to go home. I've got to rest. So I'm gonna go get Liam and then head home. So I picked up Liam and got almost the entire way home and realized that I left my house keys at the hospital. So I had to drive all the way back to grab them. Now I'm home. And Liam is in bed and I'm like hearing phantom alarms. It's really quiet. It can be kind of unsettling, particularly when I come home and it's just me, like when Josh isn't here and Marcelly isn't here. I put some of my bags in her room just so I wouldn't have to carry them upstairs. And it was like unsettling walking into her room without her being there. I'm very grateful to be home. Like, I'm very grateful to have a husband who can switch off with me, and you know, we have our parents who live close by and they're able to help out. And I'm grateful that I can come and do this, that I can take a break before I go back. But it's weird. It's really weird. I'm gonna make myself something to eat and then go to bed. It's always so strange being here when Marcelly's at the hospital, because normally most of my morning is wrapped up in getting her, you know, her meds, her treatments and everything settled. I don't know what to do. I need to rest. It's just gonna be hard to shut my brain off. What are you eating?
Vanilla ice cream.
Vanilla ice cream. All right, it is Tuesday. I just dropped Liam off at school and I've got to go down and relieve Josh so that he can come back and grab him later on today. And it was so good to go home. It's just so like hard to go back, especially when you don't know when you're coming back home or what the circumstances of that are gonna be. Marcelly still is on a lot of support from a respiratory standpoint. Like, she got the tube out, but she's still requiring a lot of oxygen. So, you know, I don't anticipate us even moving down from the PICU. Probably, I mean, if we did that before the end of the week, that would be fabulous, but I really don't know. It's one of those things, like when Josh had this conversation with Liam the other day, he was able to say, hey buddy, I'm going down to take care of Marcelly, mom's gonna be with you, and then on Tuesday I'll come back home. But when he's talking to me about it, when we were talking about it last night, he was like, you know, okay, well, when are you coming home? And I said, I don't know, buddy. I hope, I hope by the weekend. I hope Friday or Saturday. But that's definitely not guaranteed. I mean, at this point, I think we would be lucky to get home middle of next week. I've been surprised before, but we'll see. But that's hard for him, right? That's hard. He's only 5. It's hard for him to understand that. And, there's a very good chance that we could do this again, this whole switch again this weekend, rather than us actually coming home. It might be a switch again, and then another conversation of like, nope, I've got to go back to the hospital, and I'll come back when I can come back. And that just sucks. Like, you're trying so hard to like build this good attachment. It just sucks because he's old enough now to really like to express himself, which is a good thing. Like, we want him to have that space, but it's hard. Like, it's hard when he looks at you and he's like, but mommy, I'm gonna miss you, and you're like, I know. It's just, God, it sucks. You're totally split. Like, you're totally split between 2 spaces, and you're one person, and you're two people trying to, be parents to 2 kids that are in 2 different places. And it's like, it's so hard. Liam, like, he's got so much support, and he is such a good, like, resilient kid. And I say resilient in the sense of like, he is been able to articulate his feelings and his frustrations and then process them, which is good. Like, I'm really proud of him for that, and I'm proud of us for like creating the space for him to do that. And I'm very grateful for the community that we have that loves on him and that supports us and supports him. God, it just sucks. Like, it sucks that he has to be resilient in that way. Like, it just, it's the same thing that we say about Marcelly. A lot of times people will say, oh my gosh, she's so strong, she's so this, she's so that. And she is. She really is. But in the middle of that hurt, you go, but she shouldn't have to be. She shouldn't have to be this strong. And the same thing goes for Liam. The same thing goes for us, honestly. It's like, I don't want to have to be this strong. It just sucks. I really enjoyed our time yesterday. It's all just so hard. A lot of times this is when people ask, like, how can I support you? How can I love on you? And they'll text, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? And it's hard because you've got so many decisions. You're so decision fatigued that a lot of times articulating that and thinking about that is more challenging than just saying, hey, can you pray for us? Can you pray for us? Can you pray for us? And I don't want to discourage people from asking that, but just understand that sometimes that adds more to the decision fatigue, and that if we don't respond, or if we are delayed in responding, or say we don't know, we genuinely just might not know. But mostly just prayer. Just, I'm thinking about you, I'm praying about you, like, I just want you to know I love you. Sometimes it's really, really that simple, because this just flat out sucks. We have a lot to be grateful for and the progress that she has made. And that can be true, and it can also be true that this just flat out freaking sucks. I brought my coffee from home. I was like, I'm not leaving here without my coffee. And we got bacon egg bites. And we also got this, I don't know if I'm actually even going to drink this pink drink thing. We'll see how I feel. Hello. Tell me. You tell me. Yeah. What? Hey.
Yeah. Hey. I'm so happy to see you. Missed you.